Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tales from the Sales by Eddie Does IT, where we're going to be covering Zero Trust Admin Access, providing a Zero Trust experience for your IT administrators when accessing admin portals. If this information is useful, like, comment, subscribe is appreciated. Now, as a sales engineer for one of the biggest tech companies in the world, I cover all security products, often meeting with many prospects who all have different use cases for their security environment. One common use case that we get is when a customer is shopping for an MFA solution for the IT administrator accounts only, whether that be for Windows Server or a Linux server, sometimes network devices on-prem through LDAP or a Radius type of authentication. They're not looking to do any of the modern features such as verified push or passwordless. They're not looking to unfederate their applications from their existing SSO solution to another. They just want MFA for their on-premise servers. A common driver behind this is cybersecurity insurance requirements. Customers are looking to ensure that they qualify for new coverage or renewal and also help avoid paying higher rates. But what many prospects may not know, or even existing customers, is that Duo Security does not charge per application. They only charge per user. So you can stand up as many applications as you like or need behind Duo Security. And if protecting the admin accounts is a priority, my next question usually is, what are you doing to protect your other products that require admin access?
Morning, Mr. Dice.
How's it going?
Okay. Insert key. Left on 3, 2, 1, turn.
Did you know that many Cisco products, as well as many third-party vendor products, support SSO, Radius, or LDAP for their admin access to their portals? It usually gets real quiet after I ask those questions until finally someone says that they're not and they should be. Now I'm going to demonstrate how you can protect admin accounts for your admin portals using Duo Passwordless Mobile with Duo Single Sign-On. Starting in Duo Central, which is available once you configure Duo Single Sign-On, we can see my custom URL at the top, as well as the identity account that I'll be testing with SecOp. Now, most of the policies that I'll be configuring can all be done within the Essentials package. I am a Premier customer, so I'll be adding on risk-based authentication, which is available starting in the Advantage package or higher, including user location. I'll also be adding endpoint protection check, which is available in the Premier package. Now I'm going to log into the Duo admin panel using Duo Single Sign-On. Once I pass primary authentication, I'll be prompted for secondary authentication using Windows Hello as my passwordless authenticator. Once logged in, I'm going to open up the ICE admin application, and in the policy section, we're going to see the global policy, which as the name describes, it's for all of your applications that are stood up behind Duo. But if you configure an application policy, the application policy takes precedence over your global policy. And if you configure a group policy, the group policy takes precedence over the application and global policy. Continuing on, we can see that the new user policy is set to prompt unenrolled users to enroll whenever possible, always require two-factor authentication, deny access from specific locations, which is available starting in the Advantage package or higher, allowing all endpoints, meaning trusted endpoints disabled, requiring dual desktop to be enabled. From the global policy, I'm requiring Mac OS and the Windows operating systems to run dual desktop. I'm not allowing Linux in my environment, so there's no need to run this feature. For Mac OS, I'm denying access if the firewall and Firewall Vault is off, if the system password's not set. If you are a Premier customer, you have the option to enable deny access if an endpoint agent's not running. If you enable this feature, you can see a list of vendors that you can apply to your policy. I'm going to leave this disabled at the global policy level. For the Windows operating system, I'm doing the exact same thing. Be sure to check out my video on Duo Desktop, previously known as the device health application, where I go in depth on what the integration would look like for your environment. Remember, device is enabled for 8 hours, meaning that my users will not be prompted again for authentication until the 8-hour session has expired. Operating systems, I'm only allowing Mac OS, Windows, iOS, and Android while denying everything else. Notify users when their browser version is out of date. Block users when their browser version is more than 1 week out of date, and only allowing access to Chrome, Firefox, and Edge browsers. Continuing through the policy configuration, where we can see that I'm blocking access if Java version is more than 1 month out of date. I am allowing access without 2FA to this authorized network. I am allowing access from anonymous networks. For my authenticators, I'm allowing dual push, dual mobile passcodes, hardware tokens, dual push passwordless, while denying everything else. Risk-based factor selection enabled, which is available in Advantage or higher. Require dual mobile app to be up to date. Deny access to tampered devices. Deny access to devices that do not have the screen lock enabled. Denying access to Android devices without full disk encryption, and don't require additional biometric verification to unlock the device. Now what I'm going to do is attach one of my policies at the application level, a policy called ZT-NetSecOps, Zero Trust Network Security Operations. We can see that the policy is now attached, applying to all users who access this application. Looking at the configurations, I'm denying access to all unenrolled users, always requiring two-factor authentication, denying access from specific locations, only allowing access for dual trusted endpoints. You can also check out my video on dual trusted endpoints, link provided in the description. For operating systems, I'm denying access if the firewall is off, disk encryption is off, system password not set, and if an endpoint security agent is not running. In my case, I'm running Cisco Secure Endpoint. I'm not running Linux in my environment, and I have remembered devices disabled. For operating systems, admins are required to run the most up-to-date version, and they have 3 days to update if the operating system becomes out of date before being denied access and having to remediate. Same applies to browsers and plugins. Admins must be running the most up-to-date version, and they have 3 days to update if the version becomes out of date. I'm denying access to authorized networks, denying anonymous networks. For authentication methods, I'm only allowing a dual verified push and a dual push passwordless, while denying all other authentication options. Risk-based authentication enabled, all other settings the same as the global policy. Notice that the global policy is located right under the application policy, validating the order of policy. So now we're going to test this policy against my Cisco FMC, Cisco Insight, ICE admin portal. For my Meraki and Umbrella dashboard, I'm going to change the behavior by applying a group policy in addition to the application policy. If you remember that if you apply a group policy, it takes precedence over the application and global policy. Using my identity and access management account, I'm now going to log into my Cisco FMC to perform a passwordless authentication. Just received my Duo MFA prompt and now logging in using Face ID. Next, I'm going to do the same for Cisco Insight. Once again, I'm receiving my Duo MFA prompt and completed my passwordless authentication using Duo Mobile. Now I'm logging into the ICE admin portal. Same thing, Duo MFA prompt with a passwordless authentication. Now here's where things start to get very interesting. Back in the Duo admin panel, I'm going to open up the Meraki dashboard application, and in the policy section, notice that the application policy is still attached, except this time I'm going to apply a group policy. And if you remember that a group policy takes precedence over the application and global policy. For my groups, I'm going to search for my group that I'm syncing over from my Active Directory using Duo's directory sync, link provided in the description. Once the group policy is attached, we can see this policy applies to anyone who's a member of this group. And really the configurations are the same as the other policy, with the difference being the authentication methods. I'm only allowing a dual push, dual mobile passcodes, and hardware tokens while denying everything else. So anyone who's a member of this group does not require a passwordless authentication. If we scroll further down, we can see the application and global policy listed below. Now I'm going to log into my Meraki dashboard, where this time I'm not going to receive a dual passwordless authentication request because my identity engineer has read-only access to my Meraki dashboard application. I'm okay with a dual push. For my umbrella dashboard, I'm going to do the same thing by attaching a group policy, except this time I'm going to apply a policy called deny everyone else, meaning that I'm going to close access to this application. It doesn't matter if my admins are enrolled or unenrolled, everyone will be denied access. However, if I were to apply a group policy, the group policy takes precedence over the application and global policy. So now I'm going to attach a group policy, the same one we've been testing with for my other applications, except this time I'm going to apply it at the group policy level. And now anyone who's a member of this group will be able to access the application with a passwordless authentication. Everyone else will be denied. Now I'm going to test login with my identity engineer account. And although I'll pass authentication, the expectation is that I'll be denied access because I'm not authorized. Now I'm going to test login with my account, who is a member of the group that's attached to the group policy. The expectation is that I get a passwordless authentication request. Once I've passed passwordless authentication, I can now access my umbrella dashboard. Now we're back in the Dual admin panel, where we're going to take a look at the visibility that Dual security is reporting. Starting with my account, when I first logged into the Dual admin panel using Dual single sign-on, I was granted access after I completed a Dual push passwordless authentication request. The account we actually want to focus on is my identity account. When I first logged into the Cisco FMC, I was granted access. Risk not assessed means that I logged in with a strong authenticator. We can see that Dual Desktop is reporting my hostname and that I am running the most up-to-date version for Chrome. We also see that Dual Desktop is reporting as installed, firewall and encryption is on, that my system password is set, and that I am running a security agent on my device, in my case a Cisco Secure Endpoint. We also see the source location of my access device and that this is a trusted endpoint. To the right, we can see that I completed authentication using Dual push passwordless. We can see my mobile number, my passwordless credential, as well as the source location of my authentication device. For Cisco Intersight and Cisco ICE admin portal, same user, same authentication device, so the reporting should be the same. For the Meraki dashboard, remember we use a Dual push as the authenticator for my identity and access account. For the umbrella dashboard, remember that I attach a policy at the application level called deny everyone else, meaning that I close access to this application. I then attempted to log in with my SecOp account, where I did pass primary authentication, but I was denied access because I was not authorized. I then attached a group policy where my account Eddie is a member of the group that's attached to the group policy. When I logged into the umbrella dashboard, I was granted access using a Dual passwordless push authentication, because remember, a group policy takes precedence over the application and global policy. All right, that concludes my video on ZT Admins, a zero trust experience for your IT administrators. I hope this information was useful, and as always, stay tuned.